At some point, creativity returns. Not the way it used to, not with urgency, not with identity attached. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't ask whether you're ready. It just shows up. And because it doesn't feel important anymore, you might not recognize it at first. For a long time, creativity may have been something you were. A creative person, an artist, a thinker, someone with ideas. Or creativity may have been something you chased, something you waited for, something you tried to summon, something you worried you had lost. Either way, creativity carried weight. It meant something about you, and when life settled, when identity loosened, creativity often went quiet. Not as a punishment, not as a loss, as a rest, because creativity tied to identity is exhausting. It has to perform, it has to produce, it has to matter. So when that structure fell away, creativity stepped back too. Not gone, dormant, waiting for the noise to pass. Now, in this phase, creativity returns differently. It doesn't feel like inspiration. It feels like activity. You do something without planning to. You arrange something without thinking about it. You make a small adjustment. You solve a problem without effort. You don't label it creative. You don't even notice it as such. It's just a response. That's the key difference. Creativity here isn't expression. It's function. It's the system finding efficient or interesting ways to move. A solution appears. A phrase comes out. A combination works. And there's no need to claim it. No need to hold on to it. No need to build a story around it. You don't say, "I'm back." You don't say, "I've lost it." You don't say anything. You just continue. This can feel underwhelming if you expected creativity to feel electric. But electricity requires contrast. This doesn't operate on contrast. It operates on continuity. Creativity becomes part of the same stream as everything else. Eating, working, responding, resting, no special status. That's why it's sustainable. You don't wait for the right mood. You don't protect the conditions. You don't make space in advance. Creativity shows up inside what's already happening. You're in the middle of something ordinary, and a new way appears. You take it, then you move on. There's no sense of ownership. You don't think that came from me. It just happened. That lack of ownership changes how creativity feels in the body. There's no pressure, no tension, no fear of losing it, because there's nothing to lose. You're not holding on to a role. You're responding to what's in front of you. That response sometimes looks like creativity. Sometimes it doesn't. And either way is fine. This is often where people say, "I don't feel creative anymore." What they usually mean is, creativity doesn't feel special. And that's true. It doesn't. But it also doesn't disappear. It becomes embedded. You notice it in how you adapt, how you shift plans when something changes, how you find a workaround, how you phrase something simply, how you make something work with what's available. That's creativity functioning without performance, without audience, without identity. It doesn't need recognition to operate. And because of that, it's more reliable. You may also notice that creativity no longer feels personal. You're not expressing yourself. You're expressing the moment. What's needed, what fits, what works. That's a different orientation. Expression used to be about you, your feelings, your ideas, your inner world. Now creativity is about contact, the meeting point between situation and response. That's why it feels quieter. There's no emotional charge attached. You don't need to be in a certain state to create. You don't need inspiration. You don't need permission. You don't need to feel like yourself. You just act, and something emerges. This is also where comparison loses power. You're not measuring your output. You're not asking if it's good. You're not wondering how it stacks up, because creativity isn't being used to define you. It's not proof of anything. It's just something that happened. That doesn't mean quality disappears. Things can still be well done, beautiful, elegant, effective, but you don't cling to that. You don't build your worth on it. You let it pass. And because you let it pass, it keeps coming back. Not on command, on its own timing. You may notice you're less interested in talking about creativity, less interested in discussing process, less interested in explaining where ideas come from, because there's nothing to explain. You didn't go anywhere to get them. They arrived. That's it. This is where many people get confused. They think creativity requires intention, that you have to want to create, that you have to identify as creative. But creativity existed long before identity. It's a natural function of living systems. Systems adapt. They combine. They respond in novel ways. That's creativity. And when the system isn't busy defending an identity, creativity flows more freely. Not more dramatically, more efficiently. This is also why creativity here doesn't demand consistency. You don't need to produce regularly. You don't need to maintain a practice. You don't need to stay in shape creatively. If something appears, you engage. If it doesn't, you don't force it. Nothing is lost. There's no backlog. There's no pressure to catch up. Creativity doesn't accumulate. It refreshes itself. And because you're not hoarding it, you're not afraid of running out. That fear used to drive a lot of effort, trying to capture ideas, trying to preserve moments, trying to hold onto flow. Here, there's no need. You trust that when something is needed, it will show up. Not always in the form you expect. Not always when you want it, but in the moment it's relevant. That trust isn't a belief. It's something you've already seen. Again and again. You responded without thinking and something worked. You spoke without planning and it landed. You adjusted without effort and the situation resolved. That's creativity functioning without announcement. You may also notice creativity feels less emotionally loaded. You're not pouring yourself into things. You're not draining yourself to make something meaningful. You're not extracting value from experience. You're just engaging. That means you finish things more easily. You don't overwork them. You don't keep refining. You stop when it's done. And done isn't defined by perfection. It's defined by completion. The moment passes. You move on. This can feel strange if you were used to attaching to your creations. If things you made felt like extensions of you, now they don't. They're separate. And that separation is healthy, because when creation and self are fused, creativity becomes risky. If it fails, you fail. If it's ignored, you're ignored. If it doesn't land, you don't land. Here, none of that applies. You made something. It exists. End of story. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It means care doesn't require fusion. You can care about something without being it. That allows creativity to breathe. It's free to be small, free to be unfinished, free to be forgotten. And paradoxically, that freedom makes it more alive. You may find yourself creating in ways you never labeled as creative. Organizing something, fixing something, communicating clearly, finding a simple solution. You don't claim it. You don't track it. It just happens. This is creativity without spotlight. Creativity without self-reference. Creativity without expectation. It's also where creativity stops being something you do and becomes something that happens through you. Not in a mystical sense, in a functional one. The system encounters a situation. A response emerges. That response is sometimes novel. That's all. No mystery required. No explanation needed. And because there's no explanation, there's no pressure to recreate it. You don't try to figure out how it happened. You don't reverse engineer it. You don't build a method. You let it go. And letting it go is what keeps the channel open. You don't block creativity by not trying. You block it by trying to own it. Here, ownership has loosened, so creativity moves freely. This is why creativity here doesn't feel personal. It's impersonal in the best way. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't need you to protect it. It doesn't depend on your mood or your story. It's just part of life doing what life does. Responding, adjusting, finding new configurations. That's what creativity always was. It just got buried under identity. Now that identity has softened, creativity no longer has to carry it. Can be light, can be ordinary, can show up and disappear without consequence. And because of that, it becomes dependable. Not predictable, dependable. You don't summon it, you don't schedule it, you trust it. And trust here isn't faith, it's observation. You've already seen that life responds creatively when allowed to. You don't need to add yourself to the equation. You just stay available. And availability doesn't feel like effort. It feels like openness, like not being in the way. This episode isn't encouraging you to create. It's pointing out that creation is already happening. Every time you adapt, every time you adjust, every time you find a way forward without planning, creativity shows up uninvited. And because it's uninvited, it doesn't overstay. It does what's needed, then it leaves. No attachment, no residue, just movement. That's enough.